Alright, we're going to talk about translations and how to fold and poke the holes in the right order. So this is a composite of reflections over parallel lines. And so the notation is part of what's tricky about this. You read it from the inside out, much like we did in algebra when we did composites of functions. So triangle ABC, we're going to reflect it over line V first. And then once we get that reflection, you can kind of imagine in your mind where that's going to go when we reflect it over. And then we're going to reflect the reflection, because that's what a composite is. We do the next operation, which would be to reflect over line U. We're going to reflect the primes. So first we're going to fold on V. So take your paper and get that crease and the line lined up as best you can. Try to get the black ink right down the crease. And then we'll poke our holes. Poke your holes through the corner points, not through the letters, not through the actual letters. And you just need to poke enough of a hole so that you get a little indentation on the other side. And then you're going to label that A prime. Okay, and then we'll do that similarly for the other 2 points. Come back over here, poke your hole through B. So I poked my hole through B. And then I go to the other side of the paper, and there's B prime. You try to color them in a little bit if you can. And then come back, one more hole, poke our hole through C. And find a hole on the other side, and there's C prime. And then you can use your straight edge and connect those dots, which you can see that you have triangle A prime, B prime, C prime. And now we're going to reflect the reflection, so that's a really key point. Alright, so reflect the reflection. So here's the reflection of A. We're going to reflect A prime. And now we're going to fold on line U. Once again, try to get that right between your fingers like so. And that'll help you get started so you can roll that line right down the paper. Good solid crease. And now poke the primes. Poke the primes. Alright, so I got A prime. I'm going to poke my hole through there. And it does help if you do them one at a time, because then you don't run the risk of mislabeling one point. So every time you poke a hole, now that's the second reflection, so that's A double prime. Put 2 little primes on there. Alright, and then do the same for B and C. So I poke my hole through B prime this time. And on the other side of the line now it's going to be B double prime. And then C prime. Poke my hole through C prime. On this side of the line, flip it over. And that's C double prime. And then if we take a straight edge and connect those as well, we have triangle A double prime, B double prime, C double prime. And you can see that even without a straight edge, I'll do my best. Some people like to do this one dotted because it's kind of the intermediate step. So I can do that if you'd like. But there's your three pieces: A to A prime, B prime, C prime, and that one. The orientation, we're going to talk about orientation is going to be switched. So like when you see yourself in a mirror and your right hand kind of looks like it's doing what the left side of your body should be. It gets you all backwards. And then when you reflect the reflection again, now you have A to B to C back to A is going clockwise. And so would A prime to B prime to C prime back to A double prime. Both of those are going clockwise. So it switches and switches back, kind of like the op-op property, the opposite of the opposite. When we reflect the reflection, we get back to the original. Whereas the first reflection, like we learned yesterday, always is going to switch orientation. So that one in the middle would be counterclockwise. Alright, we'll try one more translation, and this one's going to be, again, working backwards. D, E, F, G, first over line Q. And so we're going to reflect over line Q first. So kind of think about where that's going to go up here. And then once we get that one, we're going to poke the primes and reflect that now over line P. And then think about, again, where that one would go once you're here. And we're going to reflect over line P. And then I'll bring it down here somewhere. Alright, another composite of reflections over two lines. Could be if the two lines are intersecting, like we see in this picture. The translations were over parallel lines. That's an important distinction. But our notation here still works the same, so we're going to reflect over line K first. This gets a little tricky because they sometimes rotate on top of each other when you're doing the reflections. So again, it's important to poke your hole and label so you don't lose track of your points, and I would recommend, again, doing it one at a time. Do the primes, get that picture, and then go back and think through the next one. So that the next reflection would be to poke the primes and reflect that over line U. So here we go. I'll do it the same way as I did last time. You may want to pause, and then I'll go ahead and do it, put it fast forward. You can kind of stop partway through and see how you're doing. All right.